Alrighty, friends. Hello, hello. Here we are. Welcome. With any luck, I'm in the Bright Light Beings Facebook group. And today is the 14th of September, halfway through September. It's 2022 still. And here we are. Chat with Matt. Half an hour or so to talk about whatever might be going on for you. I have got a comment in ahead of time. I was just looking at it just then, but I've already forgotten it. It was from Debbie, I know that. No. Right, let's do a refresh on this because I'm looking at last week's chat with Matt. By the way, my back is much, much better, for those of you wondering. It's actually not an issue at all at the moment, so I don't know why it's going straight to that. Doesn't seem to be refreshing properly Facebook. I see, because I see what I'm doing wrong. I need to go to discussion in this group. It wasn't Facebook's fault, it was mine. Operator error, as is quite often the case. Hey brother Rich, how are you? There we are, there's me on live. Got a nice bright shirt on. It says down here, wired to the cosmos, and it's a very old picture of sort of a Sanskrit picture of the nadis mapped out, which are the meridians, the yogic thing. Hey, Sister Susie. Happy Wednesday to you too, Deb. Yay that your back is better. Yeah, my back got pretty better pretty quick, actually. So yeah, that Wednesday morning I was not in a good shape when I did chat with Matt last week, that is for sure. Took a couple of isoburfen later in the day, did some yoga, went out to dinner. We had a very expensive dinner to celebrate moving into this house with the kids. It was a very expensive dinner. It was probably the most expensive dinner I've ever paid for. I had a few beers, and Thursday morning woke up pretty good. So yeah, carried on regardless. Well, I didn't carry on regardless. I have been on lighter duties. I haven't done the paving, etc. But yeah, pretty much good to go. Going to the gym. Worked all day yesterday sanding friggin' door frames and grouting the tiling in the kitchen and the bathroom around the back of the thing. So yeah, Emily Rose is celebrating. Hey Matt, I'm celebrating. I did a live event on video yesterday and it was fun. Awesome, Em, well done. I love hearing stories of people showing up in a more expansive way, facing their fears of being seen in the world and doing something new and potentially quote unquote threatening, dangerous, intimidating, like showing up on a video, on a live video interview or whatever. So yeah. Expensive dinners and beers are the solution. Yeah, it was at 50-50, so it was a nine course dinner, and there was 5 of us. So yeah, it was significant, at a significant expense. But there you go. We were celebrating successfully selling our other house and buying this one and moving in and sort of being reasonably settled. So that was that. It's good to live an abundantly opulent life sometimes. I like to say moderation in all things, including moderation. It's good to be excessive sometimes. It's challenging too, you know. It's challenging to receive that as well. Susie can't see the comments. Oh, don't get me started on Facebook and seeing the comments. Sometimes I can't see the comments, which makes it much harder to do a live stream, Susie. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes if you click on the video, it'll take you in and it'll show you the comments. Hopefully that will work. It was 9 courses, Susie. That's exactly true. Anywho's, let's talk about what Deb asked. So, because that's what's going on in my life. I'm still working quite hard. I was still sanding friggin' door frames last night at 8 o'clock, or no, 7:30 I think. But that's okay. Yeah, as Em said, try and click into the video, Susie, because you can't read Emily's comment. But if you click on the video, hopefully you'll see the comments scrolling up the side as they come in. Anyway, the little Mimi poster I put on was a photo from me in Bali 2019, last time we were there. Choose not to dilute your message just to keep your egoic self comfortable. So a lot of us would say don't dilute your message to keep other people comfortable. but why are you choosing to keep other people comfortable? That's the point, right? It's not generally just because you're an uber compassionate person, right? It's usually because you are scared of upsetting other people. You are scared of conflict. You are scared of being rejected or even judged and persecuted, right? So we understand why we tame down our message, and and it's very easy to say that you are being kind to others by not wanting to upset them, but are you really serving them when you choose to not deliver your truth? And I'm not saying be blunt and obnoxious in delivering your truth, right? It's not about no compromise sort of truth telling. That can be very unkind, but it's when you are diluting your message, when you are diluting yourself in order to keep yourself comfortable in the equation, that there is potentially room for improvement in how you are delivering yourself as an expansive being of light, living your most expressive self here on the planet. So the next line says, it's time to be bold and speak your truth with confidence, and I could say with compassion as well. But the most important thing is to be confident in yourself, not egoically, bolshy, sort of arrogantly confident that I'm right and everyone else is wrong, but confident in what I'm saying has some purpose, right? Has some benefit. I feel authentically confident in myself to express my opinions without having to make myself right and other people wrong in order to justify why I'm doing that. So I'm very happy for any questions to come in, by the way, my friends. If you have something you want to talk about, this is not a Matt monologue. Instead of chat with Matt, monologues with Matt. It doesn't have the same ring, does it? It doesn't have the same appeal. Come and listen to my monologue. I do like interaction. And I'm quite capable of delivering a monologue when I get going. Hopefully I'm tuning into what you guys need to hear or would benefit from hearing. Need to is such a strong thing to say, eh? It has been very much normalised in our society, though, this idea of need. Anywho, Sister Debbie wrote, why do upgrades /downloads /processing feel so blah? I've had the awareness that I've received a massive download that I am processing. This has looked like me feeling really tired, resting and sleeping lots. It's like the human body has to be turned off for the upgrade. And that's not a bad analogy, really, getting turned off for the upgrade. Im said, haha, preach. I try not to be a preacher. I really, really do. It's not my intent. And intent is everything, right? Anyway, back to Deb before I lose the plot. I think the question, why do we need to, process in a way that generally knocks us on our ass? I'm not sure why we do, but it seems that we do. So I'm not sure if you really want that question answered or if you're just wanting confirmation that it's appropriate for you to rest. It is appropriate for you to rest, Deb. Everyone is experiencing this. Lots of us have experienced downloads in the last little while. There has been a huge influx in energy over the last week. Testing. Seeing your comment, Susie. There's been a huge download. Like the Schumann resonance equipment all went offline last week. I'm not sure if it's back on now, but it all went offline basically because it got overloaded. Apparently some of the stuff in Russia, the Tomsky or whatever it is, actually was damaged by the level of radiation that it was picking up, right? The amplitude of the frequency emanating from the Earth and from the cosmos at the moment is off the charts, literally off the charts, and breaking the equipment that measures such resonance. That's how strong it's been. Apparently there were some very big solar storms, emissions, flares, whatever you call them. I should be careful because I'm not 100% au fait with what I'm talking about, but I just see what I see. And I know what I feel, and I know what other people around me are feeling. And there's been a lot of emails around people having a hard time. And I know our little canary in the coal mine here, Lucas, my eldest, has definitely been feeling it very powerfully as well over the weekend and onwards. It's been intense and lots of sleeping, lots of extra rest. I know I've been resting a lot, but see, I can use the excuse that I worked really hard for the last 7 weeks, and so I need to catch up. So sometimes it's difficult to measure it myself when I'm not in my normal frame of existence. So everything's out of whack from my background. My base level is not where it normally is, so it's hard to tell exactly. Well, it's hard for all of us to tell what's mine and what's individual to me and what's collective. And there's always crossover, right? There's always a lot of stuff that's individual and collective. A lot of the collective stuff influences us each individually in our own unique way. And so it's very easy to own experiences and it's not a problem that we own them. What's more of a problem is we look for individual reasons why, and usually it's a negative reason that we've sort of messed up, or we haven't tried hard enough, or we've made a mistake, or we're experiencing our own karma. This is, obviously payback for something I've done wrong in another lifetime, etc., right? We look for an individual excuse, reason to blame for why we're feeling so discordant, and that's not necessarily helpful a lot of the time, because once you go looking for a reason, especially an individual reason that you can do nothing about now, you can lock in a level of narrative, story, excuse around an experience that then holds that experience in place, right? Because now if you're believing that you are experiencing this discomfort because you quote unquote did something wrong in another life, how do you fix that, right? So then when can that experience change? You sort of held yourself in this thing, whereas if you believe it's just collective stuff flowing through, just flowing through is the important bit, it's more likely to flow through and you're more likely to be liberated from it, because you don't put a layer of wrongness around yourself, right? Especially if you are blaming yourself for something you didn't do or did do, right? You didn't do well enough, or you made a mistake, etc. Then you basically punish yourself. You create your own karma. Susie said, I'm finding that I am far more aware of my thoughts/feelings manifesting in a physical way, hence my back and then mouth ulcers. So really working with not feeding any negative thoughts. Yeah, and that's important feedback, right? When we really start to recognize how our energetic state is influencing how the physical world shows up around us, then we can take extra care with the energy that we are maintaining. Now, the thing I want to mention here is that it's important not to beat ourselves up for having negative thoughts, right? A negative thought is a normal part of the purification process. The important bit is not to feed the negative thoughts. So having them is fine. Engaging in them is not beneficial. The line between having a thought and engaging with it is a very, very blurry one, and all of us engage in our thoughts to some degree. So because a thought happens, and then we inquire into where did that thought come from. So we've already engaged in the thought, right? Which is okay. That bit's okay, right? So it's okay to engage in the negative thought to some degree, right? Because I just want to help people not be so hard on themselves, right? When they have a negative thought and then start beating themselves up for thinking negatively, that doesn't help, right? Beating ourselves up for being beat up isn't going to help us regain our confidence in the world and relax into trusting the universe, right? So it gets to the point where, for me, the way I get through this, I'll cut straight to the chase, is when I realize that I'm having negative thoughts, is remind myself what I'm thinking is what I'm releasing, right? What I'm experiencing is what I'm releasing. What I'm feeling is what I'm releasing. It doesn't really matter what you use there, whether it's feeling, thinking, or experiencing, but the important thing is to remind myself that I'm releasing this. So then the inquiry I'm having with the thought is one around, oh, this has come up to release, as opposed to, what have I done wrong? Why am I still thinking negatively? I mustn't think negatively or I'm going to attract negative outcomes, right? As soon as we start trying not to think negatively because we're scared of having a negative outcome, right? We're in a no-win situation, right? Because we're already thinking negatively about our negative thoughts. And we want to think positively about our negative thoughts. So we're having a negative thought and we're thinking positively, oh, I'm releasing this. That's much better than trying not to have negative thoughts, right? Because you're scared of having negative outcomes. That's never going to get you to a place of empowerment. It's always going to have you on the back foot. It's always going to have you in a fear mentality where you're trying to stop having negative thoughts, or you're just going to try and stop feeding the negative thoughts. It doesn't work. No, well, it hasn't worked for me, that's for sure. Maybe if someone else has some trick that works, then please feel free to share it. Yeah, so this idea of trying to let it go, I've failed at that as well. You just have to choose to let it go, and then you have to expect that it won't go quietly. Right? So we're holding in. So it's, and again, I'm picking on semantics here, Susie, so don't feel that I'm picking on you. But this is incredibly common, right? This idea that I'm going to try and let this go. When we try to do something, we're almost saying that we're unlikely to succeed, and it's almost a failure experience right from the beginning. So we intend to let it go, and then we hold space that it's going to linger. The important thing, again, is to recognize that we're not wrong for having the negative thought, and that we don't need to get rid of it. And the fact that it's still there and still popping up in our mind at random times is not an indication that we're failing. It's an indication that we're still working through releasing the density of that energy that is associated with that thought, right? The thought is actually associated with the energy, more to the point. Usually the thought is some sort of subconscious reflection of the energy that is locked in our field from some trauma in the past, so some big experience that we've had that's left that was bigger than we could process at the time. So there's layers of emotion, there's layers of judgment left over from an experience that we've had, right? The thought generally isn't a direct reflection of the experience. The thought is our subconscious mind, which wasn't around at the time generally we had the experience, or it could have been, depending on, but generally these experiences are past life, right, that may have been reinforced in this life. So we might be thinking about the aspect of reinforcement that we had in this life, but the energy is much deeper than that, and it's beneficial to be aware that these energies are much more entangled, much more deep, much more traumatic, I'll say that. They're generally much more traumatic than the actual thought that we're having, which we then use against ourselves because we look at the thought and we think, this isn't such a big deal, I should be able to let this go. The thought is only a representation of the energy, and so this energy takes some time to be fully released from our energies, right? Because it's quite entangled in various mechanisms and operating systems and aspects of ourself. So judging ourselves that we haven't let it go quick enough and that we're still trying to let it go, and I don't know why this thought keeps popping up, and getting all frustrated about it doesn't help. So hold an intention that we're not going to engage in the thoughts, and then be okay that the thought keeps popping up, and of course we are going to engage in it in moments of non-awareness, right? We've forgotten that we're letting go of this, and it's come up, and it's full of hooks, and it gets us, right? The point is not to beat ourselves up at that point, and to think, oh fuck, I'm thinking of these thoughts again, I'm going to have a bad outcome. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself, right? Think, oh God, this must be a deep energy. I'm really letting something big go here. If you can frame it in that language, you're in a much more empowered state, right? Because you just recognize that this is an important and beneficial experience, right? Because you are letting something big go. And the fact that it keeps popping up and it's creating frustrating situations around that is a positive, right? It's an indication that it's something big to be let go of, and that's exciting, because on the other side of this erosion of something big is more liberation, more freedom, more opportunity to express yourself in a authentic way, right? In a truthful way, in a unrestricted way, unlimited way. M said, yes, and we are practiced at suppressing on autopilot, so can again be kind to ourselves. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, Em. On the other side of the equation of getting frustrated that the thought keeps popping into our mind is this mechanism by where we are habitually suppressing the thought and not willing to look at it because we are, quote unquote, scared of having negative thoughts, right? We don't want to have negative thoughts because negative thoughts lead to negative outcomes, and being negative is a Debbie Downer, right? No offense, Debbie Love, but sorry, I should be careful using expressions that have people's names involved. But you know, this is what society doesn't want us to have negative thoughts. I'm going to say this again. Society doesn't want us to express our negative thoughts, right? We're supposed to be happy all the time, and yet society doesn't give us what would make it easy for us to be happy. So again, they create these levels of shame. We're ashamed that we're having negative thoughts, and yet we're all having negative thoughts. And then we're having negative thoughts about having negative thoughts, which is perhaps the ones that keep us the most entrenched in our victim mentality, in our shame mentality, in our not good enough mentality. The fact that I'm trying to let these negative thoughts go and I can't is seen as a failure. In fact, it's very normal and it's not a failure at all. And what would help would be for us to recognize that having negative thoughts is a normal part of letting go of dense experiences. I've just realized that I probably haven't got to the end of answering Deb's question around why do we feel so blah when we're upgrading? Generally, we feel so blah when we're upgrading because when we upgrade, we push out what is resistant to that upgrade. We push out what is limiting our ability to express that upgrade. So the download comes in, exciting, but we don't have the capacity yet to express the download, to live the download, to embody the download, because we've got too much resistance in our field. So that resistance is then basically pushed out in an expedited way, which leaves us feeling blah. So it's not so much that we are needing to well, it is an upgrade, but it's not so much that we're needing to assimilate the information that's come in, it's that we're needing to allow the release of what comes out, and that's why we feel tired, that's why we rest a lot, that's why sleeping, so that our subconscious can process all of the crap that's getting pushed to the surface in a faster than average time. I believe that is more of the case, Deb, to get to the why. Irregardless of whether that's the truth or whether it is more of an integrative process of the stuff that's come in, we all seem to be the same. When we have downloads, we need to rest, to integrate, assimilate, and to process what is now our opportunity. So acceptance, I guess, is important, and not begrudging the fact that we're needing extra time of rest, and or we're feeling cranky or discordant or non-functional, etc., after the excitement of a big download, upgrade, expansive experience. It's difficult, because I know for myself, I've had, extraordinary, and that's not putting myself on a pedestal, extraordinary meditative experience, right, beyond my ordinary meditative experience, which is exciting. And then for the next 3 days, you can barely sit because you feel so out of sorts, so cranky, so right, so discordant after having a high vibrational experience. So this is the point. When we have a high vibrational experience, we tend to push to the surface the vibrations that are in our field left over from the past that don't align with, resonate, or allow those high vibrational energies to really express themselves in our field. So hopefully that helps, just to help create a level of understanding that helps you find acceptance around the process of upgrade, of, assimilating the upgrade, or allowing the processing of what is releasing so that you can express the upgrade / download. What else, my friends? What else? Got a few more minutes. Marie's yoga class is about to start, but that's okay. The cockatiels are very excited outside. Who needs television when you've got a aviary outside? Marie put some leftovers out there for both the cockatiels inside and for the birds outside. So the birds really enjoy when other birds come. So we've just had a family of starlings come through, and now the sparrows are getting their turn. And the cockatiels are very, very interested in all that's going on. Hey, Sister Kelly Jean. Yeah, what's up, my friends? Couple more minutes. I'm happy to hang out here. I've got a busy day today with sessions, as I was saying yesterday, as I was saying earlier in this live stream. Lots of people are reaching out for help at the moment because the energies have been intense, and lots of people are both up-leveling and struggling with the up-level, right? So it feels like they're failing. This is the common message I get, that I'm not coping with all of the, what I'm feeling right now. It's off the charts, it's too intense, etc. And really nothing's going wrong. But that's not to say that we can't help. And it's not to say that me just saying that nothing's really gone wrong is the only way that we can help, because we definitely can help. But the point is not to feel that you're failing in needing, quote unquote, needing to reach out for help. That's the point. Or that you're failing because you're really struggling with the intensity of what you're feeling currently. It is all okay, and that's just because it's okay doesn't mean that asking for help is a wrong thing to do. Not at all. It can be a very compassionate thing to do for yourself. It can be a very beneficial thing to do for yourself, right? To ask for some help when you're in the intensity of releasing, or the intensity of assimilating, the progression that is unfolding. So, yeah, I guess I'm saying don't be shy and don't feel wrong, and don't be hard on yourself. First and foremost, I think most importantly, don't be hard on yourself. It is a very beneficial, exciting time to be alive on the planet right now. A lot is changing, obviously. Our monarchy is changing, for better or worse. And many other things, right? This is, just something that's, obviously captured the attention based on the fact that mainstream media has gone completely what some people would consider overboard in the broadcasting of said event. Whenever the media goes full on into any event, I always wonder what else is going on. What's going on that they don't want to tell us about, right? When they create such a impressive narrative around something going on, whether it's something political, something sporting, some celebrity fucking divorce or whatever, right? Death of a monarchy, etc., right? Royal wedding, whatever it is, it's like COVID outbreak. What else is going on? What else is going on? It's like all of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff hits the mainstream, and the next minute we've got a COVID outbreak, like the COVID outbreak, right? Happened within weeks or days even, I can't remember. 9/11, another great one, all of a sudden the Speaker of the House or whoever it is in American politics, announces that they've lost something like 2.5 trillion. I don't know the exact number, but it was a massive amount of money that has somehow vanished. And the next day, planes fly into the World Trade Center, quote unquote. Distractions, right? It is all theatre out there, my friends. So it's important. Oh, the Vatican has called in assets. That is interesting, Debbie Love. Yeah, that is interesting. The Vatican has called in assets. But yes, all sorts of things will be happening out there, my friends, and understand that the media will only ever show us a small slither of what they want to keep us attentive on. And generally, whatever they're keeping us attentive on is not really what we would be served in knowing. Okay, Sister M wrote, I think witnessing each other in this stuff in some of the biggest change-making help I've received, is some of the biggest change-making. Okay, I'm going to read Emily's comment with the right intonation this time. I think witnessing each other in this stuff, is some of the biggest change-making help I've received. Having the space to heal is what we really need. I agree, Em. Witnessing each other is so beneficial for both ourselves as the witness and the person being witnessed. I think I really want to scroll that away, but I'm not going to touch my phone. So yeah, this process of holding space for each other is incredibly healing and empowering. I think it's really good for us as an act of service to hold space for others, but it's also really good for us as an act of reperspectivizing our own stuff when we're holding space for what others are going through. When others really let us see how deeply they are hurt because they trust us to hold space for them, it is such a space of honor for us in that we really get to hold space for them in their pain, which is awesome for them and is awesome for us feeling purposeful as a being. But it also helps us to reperspectivize the pain that we are in so that we don't feel so wrong and ashamed of how broken we feel, because we see that basically everyone is just as broken as you. And when we can really hold space for each other, we create this beautiful circle/spiral of evolution where we hold space for each other, and it's a very symbiotically beneficial experience. So I agree. I think that's awesome, and that's why, having communities where we feel comfortable enough to express what's going on for us in a deeper way than we potentially can with other circles we move in, right? Because other people will get too either judgmental or even too sympathetic, right? As opposed to empathically and holding space for us in an empowered way, they get too sympathetic and want to quote unquote fix the problem rather than just hold space for the release of the energy. So yeah, holding energies around this is really beneficial. Yes, we're in it all together. Exactly. Sister Jill said, received a nice letter from hospital consultant acknowledging my wish to address my gallstone, aka my 2-centimetre pearl of wisdom, with complementary therapy methods, and stating his respect for that, but keeping the door open for me if I want to return to the hospital too. Very positive. Awesome, Jill. I love the fact that you've attracted a positive interaction with the old school structure of the medical system that is in the in the deep throes of its process of transformation, right? A lot of the old is having to fall away, and a lot of their righteous behavior, quote unquote, their authoritarian control of and dictatorship towards patients and the options they have available to them is very much falling apart. So my friends, that is all very awesome. I think we've come to the end of this. Hey, Sister Carolyn, holding space for you and your kids. Much love to you all. I'll be back next week. Keep your chins up. Keep smiling. Do the best you can to stay relaxed, right? Stop judging yourself so harshly. Let go of any remnants of shame that you have around how uncomfortable you feel, or how non-functional you might be, or how tired you are, etc., etc. Let go of the worry that you are sick, and understand that you are purifying. There's a big difference, even though the symptomology looks exactly the same, right? It looks exactly the same, being sick or purifying. It's just a matter of changing your narrative. And you can apply that exact same analogy to a lot of other things in your life, right? Your financial situation, your relationship situation, your physical health, etc., etc., right? It's all the same. We don't need to deny the symptomology that we're feeling, right, to hold an empowered attitude to the fact that the experience is fundamentally a beneficial one, is fundamentally a positive one. And when we can maintain that positive attitude to the shit that's going down, and this is not spiritual bypassing, and this is not toxic positivity, right? It's a conscious choice to be real and to be really positive. Much love, my friends. I'll speak to you again next week. Bye for now. Bye-bye.